back against the rust-red sky. The only sound was a distant dying cry. The floaters came like ghosts upon the gale, leaving nothing but a crimson broken trail in the hollow of a crater in the cooling silt, where 1,000 dreams of pioneers were spilt. A glint of movement in the shadow's hand, a tiny heart beating in the blood-soaked sand. The homestead glider banked into the sun. Old man Silas saw what the raid had done. He touched down light on the fractured floor and walked through the wreckage of the colonial war. He found the bundle wrapped in tattered gray, the only living thing that survived the day. He looked to the heavens, to the stars above, and traded his vengeance for a father's love. Pick him up from the dust, wash away the iron rust, a new name for a new day. Kyran, son of the red, rise from the canyon, rise from the dead. Adopted by the fire, raised by the wind, where the life of a pilot is destined to begin. Foundling of the Fossae, child of the storm, in the heart of the Homesteader, a hero is formed. Work the land, see the dust. In the family we trust. He didn't need a lineage, he didn't need a throne, just the wings of a glider and a place to call his own. Learning every thermal, every jagged height, a bird of the desert preparing for The years turned to cycles, the boy turned to man, with the dust of the Fossae ingrained in his hand. He looks at the horizon where the big ships fly, with a hunger for the speed and a fire in his eye. Kyran, son of the red, rise from the canyon, rise from the dead. Adopted by the fire, raised by the wind, where the life of a pilot is destined to begin. Foundling of the Fossae, child of the storm, in the heart watching down the setting of the sun. One day he'll have a dust cutter, one day he'll have the gold. But for now he's got the cargo and a heart that's bold. Shadow of a ridge, he marks it on the sensor, building up a future bridge. His father watches from the dome with a heavy, proud concern, knowing one day Kyran's gonna feel the vacuum burn. But today the wind is steady and the sky is violet clear, and there isn't any dogfight that can make him feel a fear. Wings of the Homesteader, cutting through the red, with the spirit of the pioneer and a fire in his head. He's weaving through the labyrinth, he's soaring through the gap, with every hidden canyon mapped upon his mental map. From the homestead to the horizon, the boy is taking flight, a glider, man of glory in the Martian morning light. Flickering screen, digging through records of the horrors unseen. The homesteaders told him he was found in the sand, but they never spoke the name of the murderous hand. He finds the file, incident Fossae 9, a massacre hidden by the passage of time. A grainy feed of a silver-hulled ship, and the floater mark on a killer's lip. No names for the fallen, no graves for the dead, just a tally of bodies in the archives he read. His biological kin lost to the black, with no trail to follow and no way to go back. He looks at his hands in the dim blue light, clenching his fists for a phantom lead fight. The floaters are shadows, a scourge on the belt, and Kyran is nursing the fiery fount. Records are empty, the memory is thin, but the dead is written deep in his skin. The shadow of the black, the vengeance in the red, a vow for the family and the blood that they shed. He'll trade in the glider for a cockpit of steel, and teach the marauders how the Martian can feel. Kyran the orphan, Kyran the ghost, hunting the pirates from the coast to the coast. The Arkan fleet calls like a siren in the dark, to light the fuse of a vengeful spark. Who was my mother? Who was my kin? Where does the story of my people begin? If there are no names, then I'll give from the coast to the coast. Bloodsand is hunting you. The sky turned to fire as the ceiling gave way. The floaters descended to finish the day. Panic in Dome City, the screams in the street. But Kyran is running on a different beat. He sees a raider ship idling hot, engine still humming in the landing lot. No time for a permit, no time for a plan, just a glider pilot grit of a Martian man. He kicks at the pilot, he slams the glass shut, operating purely on a feeling in his guts. The controls are alien, the stick is a beast, but the laws of physics haven't changed in the least. He throttles the turbine, he feels the G-strain as the Martian atmosphere enters his brain. A radar on his 6 o'clock is locking the aim, but Kyran pulls a maneuver that puts them to shame. A high-angle bank through a narrow air vent, leaving the pirate with a hull that is bent. He's not a soldier, he's not a pro, but he knows every way that the Martian winds blow. Scramble at the dome, stealing the fire, taking the fight to the thieves and the liar. 1 versus 5 in the violet glare. Kyran is the king of the Martian air. The raiders are falling, the metal is torn. In the heat of the chaos, a hero is born. Cooling tower. 2, hit inside the loop with maximum power. 3, took the engine with the laser burst spray. 4, force collision in the center of the bay. 5, bogey down, the sector is clear. Ship dominates the city dome sky as the high G turns that would break a normal man. Not just second nature to the hero named Kyran. The raid is repelled, the smoke starts to thin as the glider man brings the stolen bird in. The canopy opens, he steps to the stand with the medallion of heroism placed in his hand. Scramble at the dome, stealing the fire, taking the fight to the thieves and the liar. 1 versus 5 in the violet glare. Kyran is the king of the Martian air. The raiders are falling, the metal is torn. In the heat of the chaos, a hero is born. My name is Kyran Bloodsand, and I'm just getting started. the dome to the halls of the elite. Kyran stands steady on his military feet. The Arkan Fleet Academy, steel and cold glass, the forge where the shadows of the Mercury pass. Captain Soren came with a gaze like a blade, stares at the glider kid the desert has made. You've got the instinct, you've got the eye, but now I'm gonna teach you the right way to die. 16-hour cycles in the centrifuge spin, testing the limits of the blood in the skin. Tactical theory and the geometry of flight, studying the vacuum in the middle of the night. Soren is a shadow, a ghost in the ear, stripping away every fiber of fear. Don't fight the ship, some be part of the frame. The sky isn't a playground, it's a zero-sum game. The raw edge is sharpening, the amateur is gone. A new wing is rising in the Martian dawn. Mercury rising, the heat of the school, tempering the spirit like a mastercraft tool. Under the shadow of the captain's command, Kyran is the weapon in the Arkan Fleet's hand. From the glider to the cockpit, the path is defined, leaving the boy of the Fossae behind. Look at the stars, boy, they're closer than you think. Don't let your courage be the first thing to blink. Mercury Squadron, we are the shield to the law of the Raider. We never will yield. fear, while the screams of the dying are all that we hear. Captain Kane shouts the order, form up the line, protect the generators, buy them the time. A silver-hulled frigate breaks through the spray, turning the Mercury's dawn into grey. The vacuum is silent, but the cockpit is loud as we weave through the fire of a titanium cloud. A laser pulse strike tears the captain's left wing. Kyran hears the comms line begin to ring. Came to Mercury 2, my reactor is blown. Finish the mission, you're out on your own. A flash in the darkness, a hero is gone, leaving Kyran to face the impossible dawn. The mentor is fallen, the squadron is thin. Don't let the darkness hammer us in. The Sentinel stand, the fire and the ice. The freedom of Mars is a terrible price. With a broken wing and a heart full of lead, Kyran is hunting for justice and the dead. Hold the line at the orbital gate, wrestling the stars from the fingers of fate. Mercury 3 is gone. I'm bleeding out, but we're holding on. Charge the magnets, let the field ignite. I'll stay in the breach for the rest of the night. Trench where the heroes glow. He rams the last raider from the Sentinel's path as the EMF pulses in a blue lightning wrath. The raiders are blinded, the platforms are live. Only the ghost of the Mercury survive. Kyran is drifting, the cockpit is red, thinking of words that the captain had said. The Sentinel's dead, the fire and the ice. The freedom of Mars is a terrible price. With a broken wing and a heart full of lead, Kyran is hunting for justice and the dead. Hold the line at the orbital gate, wrestling the stars from the fingers of fate. Mercury 2, do you copy? The platforms are online. Come home. Kyran, come home. burning through a medicinal haze, a hero's welcome in a sterile maze. The medals are heavy on the bedside stand, while the Martian doctors take Kyran's hand. A check of the marrow, a scan of the bone, a quiet assessment in a professional tone. The surgeon smiles with a casual pride. It's a miracle, son, that you're on our side. Kyran frowns through bandages and pain. I fought for the red, for the Martian grain, but the doctor just laughs as he looks at the chart. Your lungs and your spine, they're a work of art. Low gravity density, cosmic ray trace. You weren't built for the dust of this place. Born in the vacuum, born in the deep. A secret of nature the floaters would keep. The monitor pulses, the ceiling is spinning. Child of the stars, an alien ghost in the kingdom of Mars. The world is a fracture, the truth is a blade, shredding the hero. The arc inflates me. I am a Martian, I bled for the dome. This rust-covered planet is all I call home. But my bones are like glass, and my heart is a lie. I'm one of the shadows that fall from the He stands on the floor. The weight of the planet is a burden and more. If his blood is the enemy, if his history is dark, then what is the meaning of the hero's mark? The doctor is silent, the room is a cell. As Kyran descends to a personal hell. The floaters he hated are his father and mother. He's the son of the wolf and the killer of brothers. Child of the stars, an alien ghost in the kingdom of Mars. But what am I? Oh, am I? The dust on the porch is the same as before, but Kyran is a stranger at his own father's door. Silas is waiting with a lantern in hand, looking at the boy he raised from the sand. I saw the doctor, Kyran's voice is a ghost. I'm not the son that you love the most. My bones are too light, my blood is too thin. Tell me the truth of where I begin. The old man sits down, his shadow is long. The silence between them is heavy and strong. We found you in the wreckage, we found you in tears, and we've carried the secret for 20 odd years. You fell from a ship with the floater mark, a scrap of a life left alone in the dark. We didn't see a raider, we didn't see the sky, we just saw a baby we couldn't let die. Does it matter the soil? Does it matter the name? When we're the ones who fan the flame. Dust and bone, the roots of the tree. How much of the monster is living in me? Raised as a Martian but born in the black, with the history of fire that I can't take back. The love of a father, the lie of a king. Kyran is breaking like a rusted out wing. Everything I am was built on a lie, a son of the enemy, born to the sky. Born to the sky. You let me hate them, you let me kill. You watch me drink from a poisonous well. Every floater I set to the grave was a man like me, whom you didn't save. Silas stands up, his hand on his chest. We gave you a home, we gave you our best. The blood in your veins doesn't choose who you are. You're a man of the Fossae, not a child of other stars. But Kyran just stares at the red desert floor and walks through the shadow and out of the door. He's a hero to Mars, but a ghost to himself, placing his medals back on the shelf. Dust and bone, the roots of the tree. How much of the monster is living in me? Raised as a Martian but born in the black, with the history of fire that I can't take back. The love of a father, the lie of a king. Kyran is breaking like a rusted out wing. I'm one of them. Recycled and stale. Kyran is drinking to forget that his blood is a jail. He traded the cockpit for a booth in the corner of hell, buying the comfort that the hollow-eyed merchants sell. The medals are hawked for a buy. in the crowd is a ghost with a judgmental eye. Did they see the floater beneath the Arkan fleet lie? He's a hero of glass in a city of concrete and neon, losing his grip on the legacy he used to be on. A shallow embrace and a chemical cloud in his lungs, speaking the lies in a dozen of desperate tongues. The legend of Mercury is a joke in a gutter of grime, just a man-shaped hole wasting his Martian time. Turn up the noise, drown out the light. I don't wanna be Kyran tonight. The Domecity Spiral, the neon and dark, finding the rhythm that numbs all the history of hurt. No stars in the sky, just the glow of the overhead grid, hiding the monster that the Arkan fleet hero once hid. Down in the depths where the forgotten are easy to find, Kyran is leaving the man that he was far behind. I am a ghost in the machine. I am a shadow in the red. Better to rot in the neon than to live with the blood of the dead, 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 dead. The bottle is empty, the sun is a threat on the rim, but the light of the morning won't find a savior in him. A hand on his shoulder, a stranger with paper and pen. The Big Canyon Classic is looking for racers again. Kyran just laughs, a dry and a hollow tone sound. Why would a pilot want to be stuck on the ground? But he looks at the flyer, at the dust cutter line on the page. A flicker of something survives in his prison of rage. The Domecity Spiral, the neon and dark, finding the rhythm that numbs all the history of hurt. No stars in the sky, just the glow of the overhead grid, hiding the monster that the Arkan fleet hero once hid. Down in the depths where the forgotten are easy to find, Kyran is leaving the man that he was far behind. I'm Kyran Bloodsand. I'm Kyran Bloodsand. The neon is fading, the bottle is left in the drain. Kyran is walking the road to the homestead again. He stands at the hangar, his hands are unsteady and thin, watching his father grease up a chassis of tin. I'm hollowed out, sightless, I've got nothing him a wrench and a welding mask wrist. Then start with the metal, son, start with the frame and the gear. We've got a racer to build and the classic is in gear. The sparks start to fly in the cool of the Martian night. Repairing the bombs in the glow of the magnesium light. A sister on sensors, a brother on fuel injection lines. Forging a bridge out of pistons and copper vein mines. They don't talk of floaters, they don't talk of arc and free ghosts. They're busy with turbines and aerodynamic posts. Kyran is sweating the poison out through every pore, finding the man that he was and a little bit more. The blueprints are messy, the knuckles are torn, but a new kind of legend is being reborn. Welded hearts beneath the Martian sun. The race for redemption has only just begun. It's more than a chassis, it's more than a silver skin hull. It's the love of a family filling the void in the skull. Kyran and Silas, team made of iron and pride. With the spirit of Mars taking over the driver's side. I don't care where I came from, I know where I stand. With the grease on my face and the tools in my hand. I'm a son of the homestead, I'm a child of the grid, and I'm building a future with every single bit. The dust cutter's finished, she's sleek as a predatory bird. The finest machine that the Fossae has ever heard. The sponsorship logo is bright on the vermilion wing, but the joy in his mother's eyes is the real golden thing. He reconciles the past with the wrench and the blowtorch flame, realizing that Bloodsand is more than just a name. The canyon is calling, the countdown is starting to tick, and Kyran is ready to pull back the racing great stick. Welded hearts beneath the Martian sun. The race for redemption has only just begun. It's more than a chassis, it's more than a silver skin hull. It's the love of a family filling the void in the skull. Kyran and Silas, a team made of iron and pride. With the spirit of Mars taking over the driver's side. She sounds perfect. Let's go in this thing. Remember that narrow gap in the copperate spires? The one you told me never to try? Yeah, I'm doing it. Hold your breath. I'm home. Are dusty, the races are won, but the work of a legend has only begun. Kyran stands tall on the edge of the rim, watching the stars that once frightened him. He remembers the black where his journey began, a child of the void with a Martian plan. But he won't let the cycle of shadow and steel determine the way that a young heart should feel. Built a sanctuary deep in the red, where the ghosts of the raids can finally be fed. The Bloodsand Foundation, a bridge for the lost, saving the children whatever the cost. Abandoned by floaters or orphaned by war, he opens the hatch and he opens the door. You're not an enemy, you're not a ghost, you're a child of the planet that loves you the most. lost in the sand. Now I am the rock where the future will of Mercury, he trains the new breed, planting new Arkansas pilots like a seed. He teaches them honor, he teaches them grace, and how to find home in the middle of space. He looks at his family, the old and the new, and knows that the dream of the homestead was true. One